in more detail. Okay. Okay. First of all, I want to share that World Population Day. Just a moment. Sorry. Let me select the pen. World Population Day. When is World Population Day? Anyone? When is World Population Day is celebrated? World Population Day is celebrated on 11th of July, right? All of you are there? Please give me your reply, guys, quickly. Now, one more thing that I want to discuss with you. What is the idea of World Population Dashboard? What do you understand by World Population Dashboard? Write it down. World Population Dashboard. World Population Dashboard showcase. It reflects global. Write it down. It reflects global population data. It reflects global population data, including fertility rate, gender parity in school enrollment, information on sexual and reproductive health, and much more, right? That is the meaning of World Population Dashboard, right? Sorry. Now one of our student is asking us to discuss the demographic theory phase second and third. Subrata, are you there in the morning session? For you, let me discuss with you. Let us discuss it again because I don't want that even a single student will have any kind of doubt. Write it down. Theory of, what does theory of demographic, theory of demographic, write it down. Theory of demographic transition. Theory of demographic transition. You see, theory of demographic transition has changed the way we look at demography. We looked at population, right? You see, it talks about three stages. It talks about three stages. On first stage, it states that on first stage, demographic transition states that low population growth takes place. Low population, low population growth. What is this happening? Just a moment. Yeah, right. First stage, he says that population happens in a typical pattern in every society. Clear, Subrata? And the biggest contribution of the theory of demographic transition is that it changed our perception towards population. Because it is the theory of demographic transition which says that population is not your problem. Write it down. In first stage, they say that population, there is low population growth. Low population growth in a society. Why? Why low population growth in a society? Number one, due to underdevelopment. And second, there is underdevelopment, right? And there is a technological backwardness. Technological backwardness. Now, what can be the example of low population growth? It can take place societies which are poor, developing countries. They are the examples of first stage, right? Now move to the second stage. Second stage, they say this one. Second stage. What second stage? In second stage, it states that growth rates are low. जो population growth rate है, the population growth rate is low. Population growth rate is low because both your birth rate and death rate are high. Both birth rate and death rate are high, so that if you see the difference between, so what it implies, the difference between birth rate and death rate is supposed to be, so the difference between birth rate and death rate is low, right? So here also your population growth rate becomes lower. Now it talks to third stage. What does it say on third stage? Third stage, you can say the example of developed societies, educated societies, elite societies. This is the third stage, is reflecting the developed society. Now in developed society, what is happening? Low growth is taking place in population. Low growth in population. Why? Why there is low growth in population? Because birth rate and death rate have been reduced. Because birth rate and death rate both are reduced. Why birth rate and death rate are reduced in the third stage? Because due to more advancement in education, more technological upgrade, societies become much more advanced. Access to education to women's are taking active participation in the working sector. Therefore, all these factors leads to decrease in birth rate, and because there is an advancement in medical facilities, you are witnessing decrease in death rate also. Therefore, as a result of that, there is low growth in population in developed societies. Now, in the second stage, growth rate is low. The population growth rate is low because both birth rate and death rate are high. There is no very high access to good medical facilities. There is no that much level of technological advancement. Therefore, here also you are witnessing a low growth rate, and here low population growth because society is backward, it is technologically backward, there is underdevelopment, and it belongs to the classic examples of poor countries, right? Subrita, I hope you are satisfied. Now there is no confusion on your part. We can move on to the next topic. Done? Sorry. Now, so far we have discussed that World Population Day World Population Day is celebrated on 11th of July. Point number 1. Point number 2, we discussed the population dashboard. What is the concept of population dashboard? It is basically a data related to population, which indicates fertility rate, right, and all the other related information. Done? Okay. Now let us move on to the another important concept, and which is there is a high possibility that it may be asked in your examination, right? And everybody is today talking about that concept, that is demographic dividend. Now let us talk about demographic dividend, and we'll try to understand different dimensions of this topic of demographic dividend. Clear? Okay. First of all, tell me what is demographic dividend. I will now you need to write it down. You see, according to the United Nations Population Fund, write it down. According to the United Nations Population Fund, demographic dividend reflects the economic growth potential sorry, economic growth potential, which is the outcome of shift in population age structure, especially when working age population is larger than non-working age population. Here, working age population is greater than non-working age population. Is it clear? This is clear. What is demographic dividend? Demographic dividend is basically focused on the economic growth potential. It talks about economic growth potential. In what sense? When working age group population is greater than non-working age group population, right? Clear? Now, if you look at the Indian Economic Survey, according to Indian Economic Survey 2018-19, India is going to have its demographic dividend of India will peak at India's demographic dividend will peak at in 2041. ये कौन बोलता है? Who's saying this? According to Economic Survey 2018 to 2019. According to Economic Survey 2018 to 2019, it clearly states that India's demographic dividend will be at peak 2001. What does it imply? It implies that the share of working age. What is the working age? Working age is 20 to 59 years. Working age is 20 to 59 years. The share of working age in India, will be somewhere close to 59%. Write it down. The share of working age, that is 20 to 59 years, will be around 59% of the population. According to Economic Survey 2018 to 2019. Done? Clear? Okay. Therefore, now let us understand the features of India's demographic dividend. You see, India's population pyramid indicates that India's population pyramid indicates that two-thirds of the population indicates that over two-thirds population of India will be in the working age, and elderly comprises only, and the elderly population is only 7%. That is the demographic dividend India is having. Elderly population is only 7%. Therefore, this unique advantage we can utilize by increasing investments in enhancing human capabilities, which in turn can have a positive influence on the growth and development of society and the country. Okay, let us say what is the importance of India's demographic dividend? Why India's demographic dividend is an important thing for us? Point number one, the very first benefit of India's demographic dividend is that it provides us enough labor supply. Apart from this, because the number of dependent decreases, therefore individuals can save more. Therefore, it leads to capital formation. Then it also helps in creating economic growth because demand, increased domestic demand brought about by the increasing GDP per capita and decreasing dependency ratio. So therefore, it will create a situation where demand-driven economic growth, where there will be increase in demand-driven economic growth, which leads to growth in our economy. Apart from this, because India is going to have a larger youth population, which can be a great source of entrepreneurship and innovation. And that is the reason India is having the third largest startup ecosystem after USA and China. India is having the third largest startup ecosystem after America and China. And because decreased fertility rates will result in healthier women and few economic pressures at home. Therefore, more women in the workforce, and as a result, it enhances human capital. Now, let us understand the challenges associated with the demographic dividend in India. Number one, if you reap the benefits of demographic dividend, you have to do certain structural initiatives needs to be taken. And demographic dividend has several challenges also. Number one is lack of job creation because India's rapidly growing population needs to be employed. But economy is not creating enough jobs to meet the demand. That is the biggest problem. That economy is not creating enough jobs and our population growth is growing rapidly. So there is a mismatch. Then the second point that I want to make here lack of quality education and skilling. Therefore, the government of India is government of India in a dedicated mode of pilot project focusing on enhancing skills of the youth, right? Because education system in India does not adequately prepare young people for the job market. Therefore, it creates a kind of a mismatch between the skill of the workforce and the need of the employer. There is no match in that here. In the skill of the workforce and need of the employer, there is no match, because if you look at the 2000 recent report of National Council of Applied Economic Research, it clearly indicates that out of more than 5 lakh final year bachelor student, only 54% found out to be employable. The another important challenge in reaping the benefits of demographic dividend is that large proportion of our population suffers from malnutrition, poor health and lack of access to basic health care. What is the significance of this point? That larger proportion of our population are not having access to good medical facilities. They are not having the access to good nutritious food, and there is a lack of access to basic health care. What is the cascading impact on the population? It reduces the ability to work and become a contributing member in the economic growth. When you don't have a healthy workforce, healthy people, can you create a productive economy? No, we cannot create a productive economy. Apart from this, there are certain infrastructural constraints also. There are certain infrastructural constraints. There is not proper infrastructure in rural and semi-urban areas. Still, we are lacking on the part of urbanization, electricity, transportation, communication system. And due to this, it is creating, or I would say it is creating a kind of stumble blocks in the growth of industrialization. Because industrialization will take place only when you have a good infrastructure. If you cannot provide electricity to the industries, do you think that industries will come to such a places where there is no electricity? Do you think that any industrials will uh, construct a plant where there is no good road connectivity or no rail network, right? Apart from this, there are certain social and cultural barriers also. You see, India's patriarchal society does not allow women to work. It restricts women from participating in the workforce, and as a result it reduces the potential of the demographic dividend, because in India 50% population is of women. Apart from this, there are environmental issues also, because rapid urbanization and growth of industrial production is having a major impact on the environmental quality. Now, these are the challenges, but your job is not to just focus on challenges. Your job is to provide solutions, answer to the challenges. Now, let us discuss what measures can you take to reach the demographic dividend. Point number one, let us start from the root. We need to invest more in our children and adolescents education, right? We need to spend, government need to spend money in providing nutritious food to the children at a younger age, because younger age is the age where the growth is taking place, formation of mind, ideas are taking place. Therefore, we need to work on creating such a system where we can supply nutritional food to the children, and we can focus more on learning during early childhood. The second point that I want to make is healthy investments, because if you look at the statistics, India is simply spending 1% of its GDP on health infrastructure, which is not adequate. Health spending is not keeping pace with the way India's economic development is taking place. Therefore, we need to have adequate investment in health sector, which will result in providing productive workforce. Third, education. Education is an enabler in bridging gender differentials, because gender inequality in education is a serious concern. If you go to engineering colleges, other than computer science, information technology, other branches of engineering, you will not see many girls are there, right? Apart from this, government has to focus on the sectors which can create employment opportunities. For example, social infrastructure. Social infrastructure implies education and health services that needs to be improved in a consistent and considerable manner. Point number two, small scale industries. India government need to focus on small scale industry, because the major problem with SSI unit is credit and the upgradation of technology, and government initiatives in providing higher amount of credits through schemes such as Mudra should be further enhanced. Another important point is the reformed outlook towards informal sector, because in India still 93% of the population of the workforce is in informal or unorganized sector. Therefore, it is important to make it easier, more accessible for job seekers to find self-employment in productive work during the transformation of the economic growth into an organized system. Let us understand the increased female workforce participation. As of 2023, more than 20.3% of women are working or looking for work, down from 34.1% in 2003 to 2004. Now, next point is fostering a favorable business environment. This is very important. A favorable businesses environment includes stable and predictable policies which can encourage investment and create jobs. Therefore, we need to build a kind of business ecosystem where stable and predictable policies can come out. Now, the next is investing in the latest technology. Because if we are not boosting our research capabilities and development efforts, there is a possibility that supporting startups in areas such as quantum technology, blockchain, and Internet of Things, India can leverage these emerging industries to its advantage and equip its young people with the skills and expertise to become leaders on a global scale, especially in the fields such as nanotechnology, artificial intelligence, robotics, where India can take a lead here. Apart from this, we need to address the diversity between states. If you see in India, southern states are advanced in demographic transitions. Please underline this. Southern states are advanced in demographic transitions, and we need to work like this on demographic transition with the north central region as the reservoir of India's workforce. Apart from this, there is a need to constitute a high-level task force under the direct leadership of Prime Minister, which will focus on the topics such as health, education, development, right? So these are the issues related to demographic dividend. Done. Now let us move to another one. Okay, now let us move to another one. Is this clear demographic dividend to all of you? Demographic dividend is clear or not? Tell me quickly. Now let us discuss the components of population growth one by one. Now let us discuss the components of population growth one by one. Components of population, components of population growth. Write down. Is it clear to all of you? Demographic dividend. I'm not able to see your comments. Now, there are two questions. Why prostitution is legal in Japan? You see, Bishwajit, if you want to understand the answer of this question, you need to understand the social fabric, economic conditions at present, what is happening in Japan. Today in Japan, both men and women are working and they are very busy in their life that the couples does not even have a time to indulge in sexual pleasure. To encourage, and as a result, the Japanese population is on the brink of extinction. If the same situation prevails in the coming 10-20 years down the line, there is a danger that Japanese population will be extinct in the world. To avoid this situation, now the Japan government is coming out lot of initiatives. One of the initiatives that prostitution is legal and all that. Okay. Now another question I'm taking is of why did family planning becomes failure in most of the states of India? Anil Kumar Roy. Why family planning is failing? What can be your answer to that? First you reply me. Why family planning is failing in other parts of India or most parts of India? Why family planning is failing in most of the states in India? Tell me the reply, then I'll explain you. What do you think? Why family planning is failing in India? Tell me, I'm waiting for reply, guys. Tell me quickly. Point number one. The reason for the failure of family planning in India, number one, our society is having a different infrastructure in comparison to another society. In India, still going for a medical termination of pregnancy, that is your MTP or abortion, is not considered a normal thing, right? In India, still we are having the idea that abortion, all this kind of things needs to be avoided. Social factor. Apart from this, there is an element of untrained health workers who are not able to create a connectivity with their patients. All the family planning measures are driven by Government of India, which does not have a public response accountability, and still they are functioning on the casual approach or the so-called traditional approach of going for property or that creating campaigns for the use of condoms. That is one of the brands of Indian latex. Hindustan Latex Limited is Nirod. They are not doing innovativeness. Apart from this, the untrained health workers And the government sector is totally focused on the emphasis of quantitative targets, right? Apart from this, there are interstate disparities related to population growth, right? And secondly, our efforts are confined only to urban areas. There is a lack of experienced medical personnel posted in in the rural part of India. And secondly, contraceptives is still considered as a passion for elites. The access to cheap condoms is not easily accessible in the rural population, or there's a lack of cheap contraceptive methods in the rural India, right? So therefore, these are the different issues involved in the lack of lack of, you can say, family planning, right? Now, one more question is coming. Self-Indian system is not qualitative in how most of the Indians who migrate like USA are more successful. The native place of. Okay, Nima is asking me a question. So, अगर हमारा education system is not good, then how people are from IITs or IIMs are migrating to USA and heading Google? Nimai, you see, you have asked a very good question. You need to understand one thing. Develop the ability. Sorry. Develop the ability to understand the problem in its larger perspective. You are saying that, sir, if there is no quality education in India, then how Indians studying in IITs or IIMs are moving towards abroad for their jobs if they are not good? You have asked a very valid question. Let me reply this. You see, which of the students are making to institutes such as IITs and IIMs? Majority of the students are coming from good family backgrounds. Majority of them. I'm not talking about exceptions. Apart from that they have a good schooling. They have taken good coachings, especially the places like Kota, Delhi, Hyderabad, and so on, right? And these people are cracking the IIT. These people are cracking the IIT JEE exam, right? So you tell me, is this percentage, it is hardly a 0.2 percentage of India's students, are not the cream of this country. Apart from this, when they are going to abroad, they have developed an ecosystem in such a manner. If you look at the ecosystem in abroad, especially in Europe and America, because I was in London, so I can better reply you. In London, you can call them racist. They are very racist. Okay, but if you are intelligent, Nimai, you have a talent, they will never pull you down. Everybody will help you, everybody will come forward, the organization, in such a way that they will help you to pull out the best out of you, to make best out of you. But this thing is not taking place in India. In India, we are highly casteist, region minded. If you are doing let me give an example of Hargobind Singh Khurana. Who is Mr. Hargobind Singh Khurana? Anyone knows? Have you heard his name? Hargobind Khurana. Who is this Hargobind Khurana? Anyone? Anyone? Who is Hargobind Khurana? Let me see who gives me the answer. Tell me quickly. Tell me. I'm waiting for a reply, guys. Tell me quickly. I'm waiting, guys. You're not supposed to take the help of Google Baba or any other online portal or computers. Then I will take a one reply I have came. Yeah, very good. Vishjeet. And another one is, you see, Har Gobind Khurana was working as a research assistant in Delhi University way back in 1960s. And his head of department always used to insult him, shout on him. And when he came out with his research that we can create differences in the genes, his researcher threw out his research papers in the dustbin, threw out his papers and said, "You're a bunch of a joker. You're talking about that we can do changes in the genes of human being. Genes are unique to our existence." Later on, Hargobind Singh, and when he was in India, he was struggling to meet his ants. His wife fell ill. He was not having money to take care of his wife. Later on Hargobind Khurana got scholarship in US from the University of Wisconsin. He was a professor of University of Wisconsin. They encourage him to continue research on genetic engineering, and he is considered a pioneer in the field of genetic engineering. And on the basis of his studies and research papers, today scientists are developing the techniques of genetic slicing, CRISPR technology, which was asked in a UPSC prelims examination twice. One it was asked in PT, and next and last time it was asked in the mains paper also. What is the CRISPR technology? Right? Gene slicing. Majority of your gene engineering is based on the inputs given by Mr. Hargobind Khurana, and for his contribution he was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. Right? He was awarded the Nobel Prize, sorry, he was awarded the Nobel Prize in medical field. Okay? Therefore, you need to understand that it is the ecosystem. The social structure should be like that, that everybody should encourage you. Instead of focusing on your faults, we need to focus on your positive aspects here. These things are lacking in Indian society. Now there is one more question I want to take up, that one of the student has asked me. I don't know his name. Sir, because population are unaware about the consequences of overpopulation. First of all, you tell me what are the effects of overpopulation. What could be the effects of, all of you tell me, those who are listening to me, what could be the effects of overpopulation? Tell me, what could be the effects of overpopulation? Number one, overpopulation has a following impact. Number one, demand for increased demand for food, increased demand for water, increased demand for housing, right? Increased demand for energy, right? Then increased demand for healthcare, right? You need more efficient transport, and the list will keep going, and the list will be so and so. Therefore, all these are the impact of overpopulation on society, right? Therefore, overpopulation will strain the environment. Overpopulation strain the will strain the environment and the resources. Strain the environment and the resources and the resources. I hope Vishwajit, who is that boy who has asked this question to me? about the consequences of overpopulation in India. Therefore, it will lead to overconsumption. It will lead to overconsumption, deforestation, deforestation, then water scarcity. If we are not able to do the control of our population and pollution. Done? So this is the idea of overpopulation, right? Effects and solution. Done? Who asked this question to me? Over consequences overpopulation. Is this clear to you? Is it clear? Anyone who has asked this question to me, people are unaware about the consequence of overpopulation. I think I have given enough lecture on overpopulation, right? Now let us move to our topic, population. Let us move to our topic, population. Clear? Shabash. Sometimes the students ask such a good questions that I think that I should give a dictation to you. For example, in the morning, Nimai has asked on culture of poverty, and just now one student asked me about the consequences of overpopulation, right? Sometimes students ask very good questions. I really appreciate it. Now let us come back to our topic, components of population growth. What are the components of population growth? Point number one, point of birth rate. The most common indicator of population growth is the birth rate, sorry, is the birth rate. Most common indicator of birth rate are number one, crude birth rate. Most common used indicator of birth rate is crude birth rate, which is basically number of live births per 1000. Number of live births per 1000. Birth rate, we also call it crude birth rate, which is equal to number of live births per 1000 children, per 1000 children, right? Per 1000. That is the concept of. Therefore, birth rate is an important component of population, right? Let us understand the factors that contribute to lower rate of birth, the lower rate of decline in birth rate. Factors that contribute to that contribute to factors that contribute to, write it down, lower rate of decline, lower rate of decline, this is C, lower the rate of decline of birth rate. What are those factors? Right? Number one, customs of child marriage, or you can say custom of early marriage. Customs of early marriage. First point. Second, preference for preference for boy, preference for boy. Third, dependency of women, dependency of women. Fourth, high rates of illiteracy, high rates of illiteracy. Write it down quickly. These are the factors responsible for the lower rate of decline of birth rate. Write down quickly and give me a confirmation that you have written it, so that we'll move to the next component. So that we will move to the next component. Done? Guys, have you noted it? Done? Is it clear? Clear? Tell me quickly. You see, one of the student had asked me a question. Pintu has asked me a question, sir, why birth rate is called as crude birth rate? What does the term crude? Very good, very good. You see, we are calling birth rate, where I have written? Yeah, yes, here, birth rate, we are calling it as a crude birth rate. The reason is this, we are using this word crude because we are not considering the sex differences among the population. We are not including the sex differences. We are not including sex differences, sex or age differences in the population. Clear? Because we are focusing on the total population. We are not considering the age or sex in our calculations. Okay? Now Pintu Maharaj, it is clear? Now Pintu Maharaj, you are clear? What is the reason we are calling it a crude birth rate? Now let us come to the next important component of population, that is death rate. That is your death rate. Write it down. That rate, death rate we also call death rate. What is another synonym of death rate is mortality. Mortality. Pintu Maharaj, it is clear why birth rate is called crude birth rate, right? And we also called it as a crude birth rate. Crude death rate. Clear? Write down. Death rate or mortality is measured through crude death rate. right? Clear? Have you written it? Death rate or mortality is measured through crude death rate, expectation of life at birth, expectation of life at birth, infant mortality rate, and maternal mortality rate, IMR and MMR. And through infant mortality rate or maternal mortality rate. This is called MMR. This is called IM. Right? Clear? You see, there will be absolute growth in population if death rate is lower than birth rate. Underline this sentence. There will be absolute growth in population if death rate is lower than the birth rate. You will be surprised to know this fact that up to 1921, the crude death rates were very high, around 40 to 50 per thousand people. But, and in 2011 census, it was around 7. Okay. There is increased control over famines, epidemic, diseases due to improvement in medical cure. There are programs for mass vaccinations happened in India, and there are efforts to improve sanitation, which helped in controlling epidemics, therefore bringing down the overall mortality rate. And one of the main factors responsible for the growth of population is the declining death rates, right? One more I want to discuss here, fertility rate. For your information, fertility rate refers to number of live births per thousand women. Fertility rate also, you write it down, this is important. Fertility rate. Fertility rate refers to number of live births. Fertility rate refers to number of live births per 1000 women in the childbearing age group, which is usually taken as from 15 to 49 years. And this particular fertility rate helps us in determining the growth or decline in population. Right? Clear? Now, let us discuss the next component. That is, the next component is migration. Migration. Write down. What is migration? Anyone? What do you understand by the concept of migration? Please tell me. I'm waiting for your reply, guys. Let me see who will reply me the first. Tell me, I'm waiting for a reply, gentlemen. Nimai is saying moving. Nimai is the first one to answer me, and she said she writes that moving from one place to another in search of better employment. Oh, that's lovely. Shifting from one place to another. Bishjeet is telling me that's really good. Write it down. For better living when people moving from one place to another. Very good. Now write down my definition. Migration can be defined broadly. Migration can be defined broadly as permanent or semi-permanent change of residence. Migration can be defined broadly as permanent or semi-permanent change of residence. Migration plays a very important role in the distribution of population in the country. And it is response of humans and it is response of humans to economic, social and demographic forces in the environment. And there are basically four types of migration. Number one, rural to rural. There are basically four types of migrations. There are basically four types of migration. Number one, rural to rural. Write down. Rural to rural. Then write it down. Rural to urban. Rural to urban. Then tell me urban to urban. Then the last one, gentlemen, urban to rural. Write down. This is one. This is two. This is third. This is fourth. Write down quickly. There are four types of migration. One, rural to rural. Second, rural to urban. Urban to urban. Urban to rural. Done? Clear? Now let us understand these four components. Okay. Now, clear? These are four types of. Now let us understand what is this four types of migration. One is rural to rural. For example, there is a one gentleman. His name is Chiranji Lal. Chiranji Lal is residing in a village and in search of better opportunity shifts to another village. That is rural to rural. Another is rural to urban. Chiranji Lal's maternal uncle is staying in Calcutta, and on the advice of his maternal uncle said, Mr. Chiranji Lal, you are not doing good business in your village. Let us come to Kolkata. Kolkata is a big city. Here the job opportunities are much better. Therefore, Chiranji Lal migrate from his village to Kolkata. That is rural to urban, right? Then urban to urban. Now, after staying some time in Kolkata, Chiranji Lal is thinking that Kolkata is a city which has reached its saturation point. Now let us figure out more better opportunities. Then one of his friend who was settled in Bangalore, he called Mr. Chiranji Lal. Chiranji Lal, you come to Bangalore. It is a growing city. Lot of people are coming here. We can have a far better work environment here in Bangalore. Therefore, Mr. Chiranji Lal migrated from Calcutta to Bangalore. That is urban to urban. Now, after earning decent amount of money, Chiranji Lal got married also. But after some process, due to very high pollution, traffic jams, crowded narrow lanes, now Chiranji Lal is thinking that after earning money, he is not living a peaceful life and his heart is in his village. And he finally decides that now enough is enough. Let us move back to our roots. Therefore, Chiranji Lal with his family returns back to his native place in village in West Bengal. That is called urban to rural. Is this clear to all of you? Right? Now, write down another thing. Migration can be caused by following factors. What are those factors? Migration migration can be caused by following factors. Number one, economic factors. Economic factors. Let us discuss. No, Pintu Maharaj is asking a question. Is there any significance of Malthus population theory for making population policy in any country? No, no. Today's population policy is, I would say, it is driven by more current perspectives. I would say more by demographic transition theory instead of Malthus. Malthus represents a very negative, pessimistic point of view regarding population. Okay. Now, economic factors. It may lead to push factors and pull factors. For example, poverty, low productivity, unemployment, exhaustion of natural resources are considered as some of the push factors. Similarly, if we look at the pull factors such as opportunities, which may be of better employment, better working condition, better amenities of life. These are the examples of pull factors. Therefore, these two push and pull factors are responsible for creating migration, right? Now, let us understand the political factors. Now, for example, you have seen Maharashtra. Maharashtra is a state which is following the policy of son of soil policy. Son of soil policy. Maharashtra. This son of soil policy is followed in Maharashtra. Recently, you have seen there is a backlash in Maharashtra where people who migrated from UP, Bihar, in Maharashtra, these people were beaten blue and black, and the Marathi population in Maharashtra, and especially in Bombay, they are saying that these people are taking away their jobs, and it is the Marathi people's first right on their state's resources. Therefore, in such kind of political environment, there in such kind of a political environment also leads to migration, right? But we call it as a forced migration. We call this as a forced migration. Forced migrations used to take place due to political climate. Due to political climate or political factor, you can call it a political factor. Right? Done? Okay, let us move to social factors. According to you, what are the social factors involved in the migration? The first social factor is marriage. For example, if today I'm teaching you, you are in Calcutta, I'm in Delhi. Tomorrow, if you people make it to IAS, okay, like Nimai, Pintu Maharaj, Subrashi, right? Let me see your comments where they are. Yes, yes. And Aditya and Alok, all of you. And after getting into IAS, you got Egmont cadre or Delhi cadre or something like this. And once you get married, then your family will also migrate with you. So marriage is one of those important social factors for the migration. And sometimes caste or communal violence also plays an important role in the migration. Now let us understand the trends of migration in India. Let us develop our understanding about the trends of migration in India. We will go one by one. Trends of migration, trends of migration in India. The next topic is trends of migration in India. Okay. As I already explained you, there are four types of migration, rural to rural. You see, if I discuss about rural to rural, first is rural to rural. Most of the migrants under this category, rural to rural, are females. And the prime reason for such migration is the marriage. If you see the marriages, about one half of male interstate migrants belong to rural category. And most of these rural to rural migrants are from the backward states such as Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Odisha, Madhya Pradesh, and Rajasthan. And it is obvious that migrants move from their place of origin in search of better jobs in agricultural farm or other establishment in rural India. Okay. Now come to the second part, rural to urban areas. Uh, when I'm saying rural to urban areas, mostly it takes place from underdeveloped states such as Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Andhra Pradesh, and Kerala. And migrants have a tendency, they have a tendency to move into a comparatively developed regions such as West Bengal. In West Bengal, you can see there is a very decent population of Biharis in Calcutta, right? Maharashtra, the national capital territory of Delhi, Chandigarh, Andaman and Nicobar Islands. You will find a lot of people migrating from UP and Bihar to these places. You can see lot of people of Rajasthan settled in Kolkata. Therefore, most of the major metropolitan cities of India today are witnessing heavy immigration and consequent population growth due to work opportunities offered by these cities. For example, cities like Delhi are badly affected by huge influx of migrants. Right? Clear? Now coming to another third type, that is urban to urban. Generally, people with resources have moved from tier 2 to tier 1 cities for higher education or to uh, look for a better employment opportunity. Similarly, city pollution has also triggered a reverse migration trend in India. Now, people from city are traveling back to the tier 2 cities. Let me give you an example that one of my friend who was staying in Delhi in GK, which is a very high upscale area in Delhi, and both his parents are doctors. His mother developed an asthma due to this, polluted air. Therefore, for a better health reasons, they have shifted their residence from Delhi to Nainital. So now, urban to semi-urban area they have moved on. Nainital is also developed, you can say. So that is what is happening, that people are traveling, people are migrating from tier 1 to tier 2 cities, right? For example, recently the Costa Rica's ambassador, who was deputed to India and his house official residence was in Delhi, but due to very high air pollution, the ambassador of Costa Rica, he moved to the South India, and he said that it is not feasible on his part that he can stay in Delhi and continue his work, and he shifted to southern India. Now coming to urban to rural, this is called reverse migration. Urban to rural. This urban to rural, urban to rural. It is basically called reverse migration. Now, what do you mean by this reverse migration? Reverse migration has gained momentum over the past decade due to government support and initiative of various organizations. And one thing more I want to say here that the concept of providing urban amenities in rural areas was the brainchild of our late president APJ Abdul Kalam. You would have heard about Pura initiative, Pura, right? This one, right? Apart from this, Sansad Adarsh Gram Yojana, which is an initiative to improve the country's one village at a time, right? Yes, 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 absolutely right. Very good. Anil has again asked a very good question. You see, if government wants to provide, yeah, yeah, I'm coming to it. I'm coming to it. First answer, let me answer Anil Kumar Roy question that you see, whatever the welfare schemes that are given to the villagers, they are confined to the state. For example, Musaddi Lal. Musaddi, let us take the case study of Musaddi Lal. Musaddi Lal is a laborer, born and brought up in Bihar. But there are no job opportunities in Bihar. He is having no agriculture farmland. Therefore, how he will sustain his family? That is a big question to him. Therefore, in search of job, Musaddi Lal moves to moves to Punjab. But in the Punjab, he is not entitled to any government service. Why? Because he is not a native of the Punjab state. Therefore, he will feel another blow on him. To answer to this anomaly, Government of India is coming out with one country, one ration card policy. So that if you have a ration card, this ration card will be applicable across India. At any PDF, at any PDS fair shop, you can go, show the ration card, you can get access to the food, which is provided at a minimum cost by the Government of India. Apart from this, Government of India is also taking an initiative of Aadhaar card linkage. Wherever you are, if you have Aadhaar card and you are entitled for a direct benefit transfer, so you have to go nearby post office or the bank, and you can get access to the government schemes. Therefore, government is bringing uniformity across India and to address this anomalies of state indifferences. I think Anil, is it okay? Now, another question asked by Mr. Pintu Maharaj about climate migrant. Yeah, very good. Yeah, this is also a very good topic you have raised. Climate migrant. You need to understand why this term is gaining popularity. Climate migrant. Why? Can anybody tell me why? You see, climate migration basically refers to migration of people by on the basis of climate changes, on the basis of climate changes. Because today, as I have given you the example of Costa Rica ambassador, Costa Rica ambassador to India used to stay in Delhi only. But due to his health concern, he categorically mentioned that I am not in a position to stay in Delhi for a longer time period. If I stay, my health will get deteriorated. He requested his government. Later on, he shifted his embassy to southern India, where there is less pollution. So therefore, this kind of migration is known as climate migrant. Is it okay? Is it clear, Maharaj? Pintu Maharaj? Pintu Maharaj, this concept is clear. Therefore, the migration which is driven by the climate change, it is known as climate migrant. Migration or climate migrant. Done? Clear? For example, if I give you your, Array, no, no, no. Aditya, you need to understand. This is a political migration. I just gave you the example, Aditya. If due to political reason, political factors, for example, in Myanmar, government is taking subversive actions against Rohingya Muslims and they are migrating to India, migrating to Pakistan, migrating to other parts of the world. So therefore, the migration is driven by a political factor. So that is known as political migration. As far as climate migration is concerned, let me give you one more example. You can better understand it. For example, the place of Sundarbans in West Bengal. But you see, earlier in Sundarbans, there is a recurrent and sudden onset of disasters, right? Severe cyclones are coming there, and due to the flooding in Sundarban Delta, it has reduced the land for agriculture, which is a major source of livelihood. Therefore, therefore, the people who were earlier inhabitants of Sundarbans, now they are migrating to different places, right? So this migration is called climate migration, right? Done, Mr. Nishant, Mr. Pintu Maharaj, is this concept clear? Therefore, if you look at the International Organization of Migration, IOM, International Organization of Migration defines climate migration. If you want, you can write it down. I'm narrating. The movement of a person or group of persons who predominantly, for the reasons of sudden and progressive change in the environment due to climate change, are obliged to leave their habitual place of residence or choose to do so. Clear? This point is clear, boys. Now let's come to the. Now we were discussing urban to rural. I think we have discussed this. Okay. Now let us. I want to discuss about international migration also. Let us write trends of international migration. Trends of trends in international trends in international migration. Now write it down. You see, because we are discussing migration, it is important for us to develop. Just a moment. Write it down. Trends in international migration. You see, if you go to Punjab, and luckily if you get a wedding card from any of your friends who's staying in Punjab, so you will see people mention the name like Paramjeet Singh, Canada, Kuldeep Kaur, Germany. You're getting it. In a state like Punjab, Gujarat, Andhra Pradesh, people are die hard. They are passionate about going to abroad. Therefore, it becomes important for us. What is that which is creating an international migration? So, therefore, I'm dictating it. You write it down. Now, migrations are basic. There are two distinct type of labor migration which takes place from India. Write it down. There are two distinct type of labor migration have been taking place from India. People with technical skills and professional expertise migrate to countries such as US, Canada, UK, European Union and Australia as a permanent migrants. So people with high skills, expertise, they migrate to countries such as US, UK, European Union, Australia, Canada, and they became permanent migrants. This is one kind of migration that is taking place from India. Right? Clear? This point is clear to all of you? Right? Now let us move to the another point. Therefore, migrants on the skilled side move to developed countries in search of jobs that suits their qualifications. And skilled workers usually take up jobs in healthcare, management, financial services, information technology jobs in countries such as US, UK, Australia, and European Union. This is the first kind. The second comes unskilled and semi-skilled workers. The second are unskilled, कोई skill ही नहीं है, unskilled or semi-skilled workers. If you look at the unskilled and semi-skilled workers, they migrate mainly to oil exporting countries of the Middle East on temporary contracts. Migrants at the lower end of the market comprises mostly unskilled casual laborers or those who own or hire small means of livelihood such as carts, rickshaws or self-employed. Unskilled laborers look to move to the Middle East, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates in search of construction and retail trade jobs, as these economies offer more jobs due to shortage of labor in their country, and they are economically sound countries offering better standards of living and income to unskilled laborers as compared to India. Right? Done? Okay, let us discuss the population policy. Now, after developing all this understanding, let us come to the population policy in India. Clear? Now, let us discuss the population policy in India. Yeah. They are sufficient for a family. Yes, Mr. Bishwajit. Vishwajit is asking me a question. Vishwajit is asking me a question that is the food provided through PDS is enough? Of course, you can get easily 5 kg of rice and all that, 10 kg of rice. So here you can get enough food, right? Okay, write it down. India's population policy aims to enhance India's population policy aims to enhance the quality of life and increase individual happiness. Quality of life and increase individual happiness. The objectives of population policy are: number one, to influence the rate and pattern of population growth in socially desirable directions. Number one, to influence the rate and pattern of population growth in socially desirable directions. Number two, decreasing mortality. Number third, decreasing birth rate. Number four, creating awareness among the masses regarding consequences of galloping population. Creating awareness among the masses regarding consequences of galloping population. Number two, procuring necessary contraceptives. Procuring necessary contraceptives. Right. And the countries who are working on the population control policy also emphasize the also put emphasis on family planning, right? And the various components of the family planning program are: number one, information, education, and communication activities; contraceptives, their supply and services; training of personnel, research, and administrative infrastructure. Therefore, family planning program in India aims at the welfare of the family. Now, let us understand the emerging issues. Let us develop an understanding about emerging issues. Emerging issues. Number one is aging. Number one is aging. Aging of a population implies aging of a population implies increase in the proportion of aged people, that is the people above the age of 60 years in the population. People above the age of 60 years in the population. For example, countries like Japan are facing enormous pressures as a significant chunk of their population is now approaching old age. Therefore, dependency ratio is now increasing. India is slowly moving into that direction with more than 100 million people aged above 60 in India as per the census of 2011. Right? Now the second is sex ratio. Sex ratio is an important indicator of sex ratio is an important indicator of gender balance in the population. Sex ratio is an important indicator of gender balance in the population. Indian census prefers to define sex ratio as a number of females per thousand males. Though world over it is on the quantity in the world it is called number of males per thousand females. This sex ratio reflects the socio-cultural values of a society. This sex ratio reflects the socio-cultural values of a society. Poor sex ratio reflects a preference for their male child in a society. Right? Let us write it down, the factors responsible for poor sex ratio in India. Factors responsible for poor sex ratio in India? I hope students you are taking the dictation also properly, right? All of you are noting down or not? I am simply speaking or dictating. You are not taking notes. I hope all of you are writing down. Write it down. Factors responsible for poor sex ratio in India. Number one, feticide. Female feticide or the killing of girl babies in the womb due to religious or cultural beliefs, most specifically due to the preference for male child. Right? That is the idea of meaning of female feticide. Infanticide. Infanticide means neglect of a girl child in infancy, leading to higher infant death rate or at times killing girl child at birth. This is the idea of infanticide. So there is a difference between female feticide and female infanticide. Third, poverty. Poverty is also one of the factors responsible for the declining sex ratio. States with lower poverty levels such as Tamil Nadu have high sex ratio. Women and girl child are denied of nutritious food and healthy life both due to preference for male child and poverty also perpetuates violence against women. Women are often subjected to assorted violence, which includes dowry deaths, honor killing, sexual violence, and so on. The third factor is migration. Migration is also emerging as one of the factors. Male bread earners often leave their native places, leaving behind women in the families. This leads to skewed sex ratio in urban areas, right? Now, what is the impact of poor sex ratio on society? It is multidimensional. Number one, unhealthy social mix due to demographic distortion. I repeat it again, unhealthy social mix due to demographic distortion. Number second, increasing incidences of sexual violence and trafficking. Number third, instances of polygamy. Number four, importing brides and human trafficking of females to deficit areas as reported in some parts of Haryana. Next point, reinforces other social evils such as dowry deaths. Now let us discuss the government initiatives to counter the declining sex ratio. Number one, PCPNDT Act, Preconception and Prenatal Diagnostic Techniques Act has been passed, which makes sex determination as illegal. Point number one. Point number two, Government of India has launched Beti Bachao Beti Padhao scheme to promote girl child under education. There are state specific schemes also such as Apni Beti Apna Dhan, right? Ladli in Haryana. Education for girls are free till graduation, right? Recently, Ministry of Finance has initiated Sukanya Samriddhi Yojana. It is a small deposit scheme for girl child, right? There are various initiatives started by central government and the state governments. Okay, this is fine. Now write it down, effects of overpopulation. I think I have discussed this topic, effects of overpopulation. Now let us move to the population poverty also we have discussed. Write it down. Another important fact. India was the first country in the world to explicitly announce a public policy way back in 1952. India was perhaps the first country to explicitly announce its population policy in 1952, right? India had framed national policy on population in the year 2000. Write it down. This is important. You should know. National Population Policy NPP 2000. NPP 2000. National Population Policy NPP 2000. National Population Policy. The policy aimed to integrate education, Panchayati Raj institutions, women empowerment, community initiative in the domain of population control, and it replaces the word family planning by family welfare. This is very important. It replaces the word family planning by family welfare. Now, what are the objectives? Number one, medium term objective is to bring down medium term objective to bring the total fertility rate to replacement level by 2010. The long term objective to achieve stable population by 2045. The long term objective to achieve stable population by 2045. What are the broad targets? Number one, reduce infant mortality rate to 30 child. Reduce infant mortality rate to 30 child. Number two, make school education up to age 14 free and compulsory. Reduce dropouts at primary and secondary school level to below 20% for both boys and girls. Number third, reduce maternal mortality rate to 100. Reduce maternal mortality rate to 100. Next, achieving universal immunization of children against all vaccine preventable diseases. Achieving universal immunization of children against all vaccine preventable diseases. Next, achieve 80% achieve 80% of institutional delivery and 100% delivery by trained professionals and 100% registration of birth, deaths, marriage and pregnancy. May I repeat it again? Achieving 80%, let me see whether you are writing or not. Are you there? Okay. Yes, yes, you can mention Kanya Shri scheme of West Bengal and the government. It's a very good scheme. You can mention, right? Okay. Now, achieve 80% of institutional delivery, 100% delivery by trained professionals, and 100% registration of birth, death, marriage, and pregnancy. Next point, you write it down. It is envisaged that the target of stable population by 2045, which is now pushed back to 2065. Next, improving the availability of contraceptives and strengthening the health and welfare services. Right now, let us discuss the government initiatives. Number one, Janani Suraksha Yojana. Number one is Janani Suraksha Yojana, which aims at reducing the maternal and neonatal deaths by promoting institutional deliveries, by offering cash assistance. Number two, Integrated Child Development Scheme, which promotes holistic development, immunization care, and and nutrition for the children below 6 years of age. Third, universal immunization program initiated by the state governments and the central government. Third, you can write it down, Pradhan Mantri Swasthya Suraksha Yojana, which aims at correcting the imbalances in availability and affordability of tertiary level healthcare. Indira Gandhi Matritva Sahyog Yojana, you can mention the scheme for the home delivery of contraceptives by ASHA at the doorstep of beneficiaries, right? Next, you can write scheme for ASHA to ensure spacing in birth. Pregnancy test kit has been made an integral part of ASHA kit. Therefore, all these are the initiatives taken by the government regarding this. Done? Okay. One of the student is asking me a question that sex ratio in tribal people are better than others. What is the reason behind it? Alok, let me answer the question of Alok. Alok, you see, if you look at the tribal people, they are having an egalitarian culture. For in majority of the tribal people in India, there is no difference between boy and a girl. And if you go one step further, for example, if you go to Northeast, which follows the matrilineal form of of family system, girl children are preferred. Girl is preferred because they think girl brings luck. Girl is the bread and butter earner of their family. So therefore, sex ratio in tribal people are better than so-called people who are living in urban areas or semi-urban areas, right? Clear, Alok? I hope this explanation is enough for your answer. Another question is asked by Pintu Maharaj. Pintu Maharaj is asking why Kerala is top scorer in terms of most of the demographic composition. Kerala is top scorer because due to government policies and their implementation. If government is sincere, because the government in Kerala puts lot of focus on the human development indicators, they are bringing good work at the ground level on education, on health, spreading information. Therefore, you are seeing that there is a Kerala is coming on top of sex ratio and literacy and so on, right? Clear, Pintu Maharaj and Alok? Okay, okay. Now let us write one more thing, then our topic will be complete. Write it down. Sorry. Population explosion. Population explosion. Write it down. Right? Just a moment. Population explosion. Write it down. Done. Population explosion. Write down. Why I am bringing this topic? Because Prime Minister Narendra Modi, in his Independence Day speech, addressed the problem of population explosion in India, and he categorically mentioned that the people who opt for smaller families are patriots, and he argued that the development and prosperity of the nation begins only when all the individuals are healthy and resourceful. Therefore, our Prime Minister of India has appealed for the public effort to reduce the population at the ground level. That is the reason it becomes important for us to develop the understanding about what is population explosion. Write it down. Population explosion is the sudden increase. Population explosion is the sudden increase in the size of population. Population explosion is the sudden increase in the size of population. This term was coined by an American sociologist called Kingsley Davis. Population explosion is basically sudden increase in the size of population, and this term is coined by Kingsley Davis. He was an American sociologist. He was an American sociologist. Clear? Population explosion. Right? If the trend of high population growth is left unchecked, then there will be several repercussions, which includes unemployment, poverty, poor standards of living, larger gap between the rich and the poor, lesser resources, greater exploitation of natural resources. Right? Therefore, this is about proper population explosion. Then, clear? There is one more term which you should know, that is called population bomb. That is called population bomb. Write it down, population bomb. The word population bomb indicates the word population bomb indicates the concerns of overpopulation, which can lead to mass starvation and environmental deterioration. Done. Clear? Let us write down Steps taken by India for civilizing population. Number one, Mission Parivar Vikas. Number one, Mission Parivar Vikas. Under this, substantially increasing access to contraceptives and family planning services in 146 high fertility districts across India, with a total fertility rate of 3 and above in 7 high focus states. Please underline this. This scheme, Mission Parivar Vikas, is focused in 146 fertility districts with total fertility rate of 3 and above in 7 high focus states. Number 2, compensation scheme for sterilization acceptors. Compensation scheme for sterilization acceptors. Under the scheme, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare provides compensation for loss of wages to the beneficiary and also to the service provider for conducting sterilizations. Point number 3, clinical outreach team, COT scheme. Clinical outreach teams. The scheme has been launched in 146 Mission Parivar Vikas districts for providing family planning services through mobile teams. ठीक है. Number next is home delivery of contraceptives by ASHA, and the last is National Family Planning Indemnity Scheme, NFPIS. 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 National Family Planning Indemnity Scheme, under which clients are insured in the eventualities of death, complication and failure following sterilization, therefore ensuring quality of care in family planning services by establishing quality assurance committees in all states and districts. These are the latest initiatives taken by the Government of India for the stabilization of population. Done. Therefore, today we have discussed the topic population and related issues in wider framework, and I have tried my level best to discuss and bring all the necessary topics which are important from examination point of view and which will help you in creating a fundamental knowledge framework about this topic. And whatever happens, some current happenings are taking place in the newspapers, please add this to your class notes. Okay. On this, I say thank you very much for being with me, and we'll meet in our next class. We will discuss the remaining topics. Thank you very much. And I hope all of you have enjoyed the session with me.